Hello world, welcome back, Band on Band. Here we are again. The nights are getting darker and the days are getting colder. So hopefully you are settling in for autumn and winter to come. On today's episode we have two pretty autumnal bands. We have Lucinda from Cultdreams talking about the wonderful and still broken up Balance Composure. Hope you enjoy. Hello, Lucinda. How the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I like we're doing the second hellos. That's my favourite part of this recording session. Doing the first hello properly, and now the official hello that everyone else can hear.
Sorry, my official one wasn't very authentic, was it?
No, this one's much better. A star for this hello. Welcome to Band on Band. You picked Balance and Composure to talk about.
Yeah.
Wonderful band. Perfect band for this time of the year, I feel. Very autumnal, sad, and like a crisp autumnal morning. When was the first time that you discovered them? What was that like? How did you feel?
So I've been trying to work that out because I didn't discover them live. Like, I didn't watch a show and find them that way. So I don't know how I found them, because it was kind of at that time where there was just an influx of so much like American emo and that kind of stuff coming through, and loads of pop punk as well. And I was just immersed in a sea of like pop punk bands, I think, at that time. Like Transit, Man Overboard, Wonder Years, that kind of, it was at that point. And then like
the good time.
Yeah. And then it was like I had been in a pop punk band from being like 16 to being 19. I don't know, but I definitely had had enough of that. And I don't remember when I found them. I know it was when Separation came out, which was 2011. But like, I also had a 7-inch that they did with Tiger's Jaw, which was 2010. So I'm thinking maybe that was how I found them. And like, I think the first actual memory I have of like listening to them and loving it was the first track on Separation, Void. And I think what's the opening line, like, found out everyone was shallow. And it became like, that album for me became this sort of late night listening record that I just associated with this little flat that I lived in with my friend Dan when I was at college. And it seemed to be my go-to record for like putting on at like 1 a.m. when I just sort of, I don't know, like I finished writing a song and I was just trying to like wind down or chill out. And yeah, I think that's what I associate that album with. I feel like I must have just, I don't know how I found them though. I can only assume it was that split and just from people sharing stuff online. But
it was around that time where it felt like every week there was like a new RFC band or like a Top Shelf Records band that was the hot property all of a sudden.
It was like, like Run for Cover, No Sleep and Top Shelf just seemed to almost have a bit of a monopoly. And I think just like the circle I was running in Leeds and the type of shows that were coming to Leeds were like all in that vein. I think that was like the first thing. I think it was kind of like almost like refreshing for me, because I was listening to something that was like super angsty and like not upbeat in any way. And after like years of being immersed in the pop punk scene, that was like, I was like, oh wow, like this is exactly what I've needed at this very moment kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think mine must have been a very similar story as well. I think probably around about, they had that 7-inch, like split with Braid, I think, in like 2013 that I got involved in. It was a good split. I felt like when I first listened to them around that sort of time, it was like the first band in a very long time that sort of stopped me in my tracks. Whereas before it was like, you know, always listening to Manchester Orchestra or Alexis on Fire or, you know, the older bands. There hadn't been a band like this for a very long time. And I do remember our friend Ben Pollard showing me the first album and me being like, nah, it's not for me, mate. And he was like, you're literally kidding me. You're an absolute moron if that's your stance on this. And I very remember like him continuously playing it and me being like, man, I don't get it, mate. And then that Braid split came out and he was just like, if you would just listen to me, I know your music taste better than you know your music taste. What would you say your favorite album of theirs is? Because they've got 3.
Yeah, they've only got the 3, and they got the first EP, Only Boundaries. But it's gonna, for me, it's like I hate to be that person, and I never usually am that person, but it is the first album. It's
always become the things you hate.
Yeah, like, I mean, the thing is, it's like I have a thing for like album openers. Like I have a massive thing about them. Like I love it when I find the perfect one. Like Manchester Orchestra are great at them. Like Biffy Clyro are. Like there's really like random. The Cure are great at them, but I always seem to find really random openers, and I might not like the album, but I just get obsessed with opening songs, and I'm like forever trying to write good ones, and I haven't done it yet, but I maybe one day will. Yeah, just that album all the way through. Like I listened to it while I was driving all the way through the other day, like straight because I was driving for like an hour and a half, and just like the way it flows into each other is just perfect. And it's just like, for me, it's like the perfect balance of like super angsty, drawn out, like droney kind of, I guess kind of like grungy in places, but then it's still like quite melodic. And they have 3 guitarists. I don't know if they've always had 3 guitarists. I have no idea. But just the blend of everything, the way that they wrote that record is awesome.
Yeah, I think they have always had 3 guitarists, and it's always I never see a band with 3 guitarists that fuck it up. It feels like the bands that I've seen with 3 guitarists always seem to know exactly they're all in their own instrumental pocket. Like the rhythm section's locked in, but they're in their own world and they know exactly what's going on. And I just, as a person who can just about barely play the drums now, it's nice to just sit back and just be berated and barraged by sound.
Yeah.
I like how I wouldn't say like the first 2 albums are that different, but it feels like on the second album they have sort of narrowed down into what they're trying to create on the things we think we're missing. And then for me personally, that one's my favorite, but then it goes completely into like almost an electronic album for Like We Made.
Know,
like,
right?
They just like go, fuck it, we're gonna do whatever we want now, and that's not what we've done on the last 2 records.
Yeah, I think that was cool. I did really like the second album, but it didn't like hit me as hard, like, because I guess they're not doing anything like massively different, but the songs are really good. And then the third album, like, it was weird because you listen to the third album and like all the ideas they had were like amazing, and I'd be really interested to know like how it was received and if they were happy with how their fans like reacted to it, because I think some of it broadens on like, it sort of goes a bit Radiohead, which I love that, but like I think for the place that they held and the kind of emo like alt rock scene, I don't know if that was like welcomed as much as it would be for the majority of their fan base.
Yeah, I never saw anyone saying anything bad about it. I saw more people saying good things about it, which was, I think, indicative of the time and like having a strong fan base who are willing to listen to whatever you do creatively, which is kind of what every artist want. Well, I mean, artists will make art for themselves more than anyone, but having a fan base that's willing to go and ebb and flow with your creative journey. I remember feeling the same way about the second record as you did for the first record. I feel like for me, that one was the moment where like the penny dropped.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I can just spin continuously without it can just go around all day and I don't get bored of it. But in preparation for this, I did listen to everything that I had here. I'm the guy that sits and listens to records rather than Spotify. That's fine.
Hell yeah.
We all know one. I'm in the biz. But yeah, Light We Made, I really enjoy it. Like Postcard, and there's like that song For a Walk, which is kind of like almost like
I like that one.
A skip. I'm just ashamed that they never came and toured that album in the UK.
No, it got cancelled, didn't it? Because I got so excited because we had just signed to BSM and we're putting out our first record. I'm like, it's happening. It's gonna happen. We're gonna tour with Balance. I mean, like, no one ever asked us. Like, I don't think I ever asked anybody. But like, I was
you just knew it was going to happen.
I was just like, it's going to happen, and then the tour got cancelled, and I was like, they probably. But yeah, it is a shame. I'm still trying to work out if I've seen them live, because
I definitely have.
Was it with Pianos Become the Teeth, Departures in Sea Haven?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if I was there or not. They played they played Cockpit 3 in Leeds, and I feel like I had a ticket, but I don't remember the show. I'm also a massive Pianos Become the Teeth fan, and I feel like I would remember it if I was there. But I just went to so many shows in Cockpit 3, all the same kinds of bands, and it just all like, I spent my life there for years, so it all just blended into one, really.
I'm exactly the same with Fighting Cocks.
Yeah.
In Kingston. There was a spread of maybe like 4 years when me and Ben would get in his old car, drive up there. I swear we'd be there like 3-4 times a week, or 2-3 times in the weekends. You wouldn't, but I vividly remember seeing Balance Composure there. It might not have been that tour, to be fair with you. And if anyone wants to get on the old blower and tell us on the internet that we're wrong, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. But I definitely seen him in Fighting Cocks, and I definitely remember spending a lot of money on merchandise and alcohol. So basically the only two things I buy nowadays. But I remember having a really good time. I also, similar story to you, was that when I just started working at BSM was when we signed Balance Composure, and I was probably just as excited as you, but from the other point being like, holy shit, I can now say that I work for Balance and Composure, or I'm going to release their record. And then we remember me and Kev talking about it, and him being like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I was like, it's pretty good. And he was like, yeah, it's good. It'll do fine. And I was like, mate, what have I signed up for?
You don't get it. You don't get it, Kev. Yeah, I think that's the thing. That feeling actually like never goes away. Like gaining, like being on a label with, or working for a band that you love, like that never gets old, like ever. It's a very nice, pure feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it when we like when you get that perfect band come through, and I feel the same as back in the days when I used to go and play shows where you'd get that perfect show. And I guess you've had a lot of those experiences as well, where you're just like, you got to pinch yourself a little bit, and like you and Connor would just be like, fuck, oh yeah.
Yeah, I never don't get that when we get like the perfect support slot. And Balance and Composure would have definitely been that.
You could have quit music then after that.
I mean, I say this every time. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, I can quit now. And it I somehow, for some reason, I don't.
It brings you back. It's that time, middle of the podcast. It's advert time. Yep, you can skip it if you want, but honestly, I think I'd be upset. I think you'd be upset for missing the deals anyway, so stick with us. This week, I want to talk about Family Friend. That is the friends and family part of the BSM website. Yep, that's right. It's literally free to join. I mean, I don't know. that could literally be it. It's free to join. There's a bunch of extra sort of exclusive club membership discounts, videos, downloads, giveaways, and competitions that you cannot get anywhere else if you're not a family friend member. And let's be real, you might want to become one. This month in October, we have a lot of stuff going on here. We've got a bunch of things that I'm looking at right now that I can't tell you. Whoa, great advert. But the things that I can tell you about, if you sign up today and log in tomorrow, you can win yourself a pair of Orchards tickets for their May 2021 tour. You can have the chance to win a signed Fall of Troy LP. You can get half-price beanies because, it's getting chilly now. It's getting chilly. Keep the old noggin, keep it warm. And there's a bunch of old exclusive content that we've chucked in there to rewatch. You can also get a couple of records for $9.99. Honestly, for £0 and 0 pennies, €0 and 0 cents, $0 and 0 cents, I honestly don't see the sense in why you're not signed up to Family Friend. So don't be an idiot. Sign up, have a great time, and thank me later. All right, here's old me talking to Lucinda still about Balance Composure, why they're still not a band anymore. RIP. I was doing my further research for this podcast, and actually today, which is actually work, because for people that don't know, we were supposed to do this a couple of days ago, but I forgot. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
I did as well, to be fair, so I didn't remind you either.
But that's worked out quite nicely, because today, the day that we're recording, October the 7th, is the 4th birthday of the final Balance Composure album, Like We Made. Came out 4 years ago today.
Of course they released it in autumn.
Yeah, of course they did. They're an autumn band. It's only September or October releases.
Yeah, I did. I even, when I was walking my dog before this, I did just put them on shuffle as well. Just did a bit of preparation,
Just roll. They're the sort of band that I feel like you could roll the shuffle dice. You could play the shuffle game and it'd be fine.
Yeah. Do you remember when we said we were going? When you asked me what band I wanted to do, and we said we'd do this one, and I found their last show, like the link to the video. Did you watch it? I had it on in the background. Oh, it was really good.
I remember watching it. That was the second time I watched it. I hadn't watched it in maybe a year or two, and I remember looking at that set list and being like, this is literally the greatest hits. And then I got John doesn't sound like he wants to be there, and it really upsets me. Yeah,
it was like a really interesting look into like a band that have announced they're stopping for personal reasons, and you can sort of, it's like a bittersweet thing because they're playing this huge show, and they had a tour where all of their friends' bands were playing with them, and that's a really nice thing. But obviously whatever reasons they had to not do it anymore, you can see it, you can see that on the stage, and then something went wrong, didn't it? Something went wrong during the set, and they were like, that's just how it is. And it was just it went a bit dark, and and I guess that was I just want to know, is that a moment for them where they were fuck this, why am I still, I don't know, I suppose only you know how you feel in your own band and when you're playing and stuff, but I've had a lot of those over 16 years, but obviously at the point where you decide to just completely stop, I kind of want to know why, almost.
It's almost like you want to be a fly on the wall in sound check or in the dressing room, just so you could get some personal closure as to why they don't want to do it anymore. And that is really sad when bands decide to do that. I think as a fan of a band, you put so much emotional weight onto what those songs mean to you and what that band means to you and what the events mean to you, that it is almost bittersweet when they cancel or when they stop being in a band for undisclosed personal reasons, and you're just tell me if you've had a fight, just tell me, it's fine, I can deal with it. If
they cancelling a tour and it's not much of an explanation, but I kind of get it, because I don't know, like, I mean, all those types of bands that were like seemed really big on the internet, a lot of the times when they were actually touring, the venues that they're playing are like 150 cap venues, and but they're doing that all over the world. But it's like, so it seems like, I don't know, it seems like they're doing well, but like there's their money in their pockets, and can they like support their kids? Like, can they have a family? Can they pay their rent? So I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, I suppose that is like the sad thing. And then of course it's kind of like if we carry on, do some people just not love it anymore and end up resenting it?
Yeah, definitely. And then then you are essentially just going on stage to sort of like fulfill other people's thoughts and dreams of the music that you are slowly but surely not really caring about. But
yeah. It's I guess like it's a selfish career path anyway. And that, like, because you basically ask all of your loved ones to just accept the fact that like you're going to be in a very unstable career, you're not going to be around a lot, you're not very reliable, and it's I guess like, and somehow we all get away with it because it's music. Yeah, but like I think it's basically, I don't know, I think as soon as you get like resentful about it, then it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it feels like that. It's always felt like that to me.
Yeah, I do wish that final show, I don't know, because someone like, I would feel, I mean, years ago when I was in a band, like our final show was very much like, going to give this everything one last time. It's going to be real fun, and then I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Tonight I'm going to do 110%, burn myself out, and that's kind of what I wished that was. Because if it was really good, you could get like a nice vinyl pressing of that, you could get a nice DVD sold, but then, you know, that's just our points of view. They might have just got to the point where they just, you know, they're like, cool, in an hour and a half we don't actually ever have to do this again, so let's just go do it.
Yeah,
and that's kind of sad.
I think in a musician's head, no one wants it to come to that, but I think unfortunately that is the reality for a lot of people. I don't know, I've never had a last show, which is weird because like I've never like, I think the two bands I've been in that have come to an end, I've never like, we didn't do last shows.
Just stopped.
So I never had that like, right, this is my last one. Like, so yeah, I've weirdly never had it. But maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. Moving on to a more sort of good note and positive question. As an artist yourself, and as a guitarist yourself, what sort of, and a lyricist yourself, what's inspired you about Balance Composure? What inspiration have you taken from this band over the years of being obsessed with them?
I think it's like, I think for me it was like vocals and like lyrics aside, it was like the sort of droniness and the moodiness that's in a lot of their music, and how so much of it, they find really good ways to like draw things out and leave loads of space. And I really like that, because it's really easy to fill like a 3-4 minute song with as much things as you can, and especially considering they've got 3 guitarists, but everything just sits together real nicely. I don't know who produced their records. Was it Will Yip?
I think the second one was definitely Will Yip.
I'm just gonna Google it real quick, if that's okay, because it's gonna.
If it makes you feel better, you're the first person, and we've nearly been doing this an entire year now, that has gone to make sure that they're saying the correct things on the podcast. So respect. Brian
McTernan. I don't know who. Oh, fair.
So me confidently saying that Will Yip definitely did the second one was a lie.
No, this was for Separation. He was from the hardcore punk band Battery, and he played guitar for Ashes. Sweet. Yeah, fair play. I don't know. There was just, yeah, I think, I can't even remember what I was talking about now. I've got sidetracked.
You were saying that you appreciated how moody they could make the songs and how they could fill the songs quite well, but also leave enough spaces, even though considering there was 3 guitarists.
Yeah, that was it. And then I suppose also considering that I'm just one guitarist and I don't play with anybody else apart from a drummer in my band. As I'm now writing at the moment, and as I wrote for the last album, a lot of it was actually like layers, and thinking about what layers I can create that aren't necessarily guitar sounds, but they sit real low in the back. And when you take them out, you don't feel like, you can tell that they're not there, but then you can't hear them when they're there, if that makes sense. Like, and it's just, and I guess it's things that create more of an atmosphere than anything else. And I really like how they did that on the first 2 records. On the 3rd record, I think all the electronic stuff they tried to do was really cool, but it felt like slightly unfinished. Like, because the second half of the record kind of almost reverts back to their like older stuff a little bit. Yeah, whereas
it definitely feels like they're moving backwards into like band, like traditional band sounds.
And then the way it starts, they kind of like hit the ground running with all the like Radiohead stuff, and I'm like, oh sweet. And then you kind of get to the end, so it's like I did like that record, but like the other thing, like the lyrics just didn't hit me as hard as the last 2 records. And like and when I always say this in interviews, but when I like listen to an album, it's like that's always the first thing I notice. And if it doesn't feel like I'm being like punched in the stomach repeatedly, then I find it really hard to connect with it otherwise.
Yeah, I can feel that. I think the especially in the second record, it felt like they'd hit a good sweet spot in like knowing what their technical abilities were and what they could do, even though that whole record sounds very similar. It's like they've hit a sweet spot and they're like, cool, we can make 12 awesome songs in this soundscape. I do feel like the lyrics in the second and the first record as well are very like more metaphoric, and I think I can enjoy that more than the lyrics on the 3rd record. But then you get to the 3rd record and you're like, I can kind of look past the lyrics because they're trying something new, and it's kind of working.
Yeah, there's a vibe, and I like it. It's almost as if like if they'd had like the luxury of being able to spend like 2 years in the studio, or like, do you know what I mean? Like unlimited time, unlimited money, it probably would have come out. But like then that's a problem that we all have, like not being able to spend enough time on something and then it not working, or not working as well as you want it to, or like how you envision it. But yeah, I think the first 2, like lyrically, I really want to know whoever writes the lyrics in that band. You see, this was a time when social media wasn't massive, so I don't know any of the members' names. I know nothing about them, which is actually kind of nice. But whoever wrote the lyrics in the band, I want to know what their obsession with rain was. It's all, both of those albums, rain in every lyric. And I'm like,
it's autumnal records.
Yeah, what's the significance? And it always makes me wonder.
There's a great lyric in the second album. I can never remember what song it was, but it's like, I'm a spider in your bedroom with 8 eyes all on you. And I was like, that is such a good, like, horrible vision.
Yeah, kind of creepy as well.
Kind of creepy, but I liked it. And whenever I hear it, I'm always like, that's like the one that I always hum to myself when I'm walking along listening to that song. Bit creepy. Come to think of it, quite creepy indeed, but still a good lyric.
Yeah. I
don't know. Final thoughts on Balance Composure? Good band?
Yeah, great band. I feel... I've maybe, after this conversation, I just kind of now feel that like they lost their fire a bit towards the end, and totally fair play. I can understand why. There was also quite a long time between the second and the 3rd album, wasn't there? But first 2 records.
3 years.
First 2 records were amazing, and all the splits they did were great. And for a band that sort of popped up like at a time where pop punk was huge, like obviously followed by like along with bands like Pianos and Sea Haven. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes they get a little bit forgotten about because bands like Pianos and La Dispute and Touche Amore are kind of still around, and they've sort of stood the test of time a bit more. But yeah, I sold like 90% of my record collection last month, and I kept I sold all my 7-inches, but I sold all my old pop punk records, and I did keep Balance and Composure in there, so I think that's a pass. I don't know what the pass is for, but I think it's a pass.
Balance Composure, you passed the test that you didn't even know you were taking part in.
You
so
stayed
well done.
in Lucinda's record collection, and at the rate that Lucinda moves around, you know, that's probably pretty good.
That's pretty good. Thanks for taking some time out and chatting with me.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There you have it. That was my chat with Lucinda from Cultdreams. Thanks so much for giving me some time in your evening to discuss one of the best, one of the very best. Unfortunately, as we alluded to, they're still broken up. That's fine. We're never gonna get that final UK tour that we were promised. But you know, that's the good ones break up. It's fine. It's fine. I'm over it. Over it. Anyway, whilst I've got you, a bit of housekeeping. We only have 2 more episodes left of Band on Band for 2020. I know there's been bloody loads of them. They're all going to be up on Spotify and your other podcast providers, so it's not the end. You can still go back if you've missed any, and you can enjoy them all over again. So thanks for sticking with us this long. This week's episode of Band on Band was still hosted by me, Connor P. Laws, and still edited and shifted around, sorted out, and just made to sound lovely by my good friend and all-round good guy, Oscar Lydiard. That's it. Until next week, when we'll be talking to someone else about someone else. Call your mother, stay hydrated, have a good time. Oh, and keep wearing a mask, obviously. People who don't wear masks are fucking idiots. Alright, bye!